Hello, my name is Robert McKee, and this summer in 2025, I interned at Insight to Profit in their Chicago office. I worked as a summer analyst in the transaction advisory group. So I'll be running you through exactly what final capstone project I was given in the transaction advisory group that resulted in me giving a final presentation at the end of my internship. So, like all the other interns that weren't in tag, I also got a capstone project, but it looked a little bit different. This one, instead of being for one of our strategy projects, was for a buy side diligence with one of the private equity firms that we are clients with. And what this was supposed to be was me working alongside many of the tag team members as we went through this diligence. However, the project was delayed, so I ended up doing a lot of the pre work for this diligence, which kicked off after I left the firm in August. What I did was first ran the data that we got from our client through our ETL process. This stands for extract, transform, and load, taking the raw data set that's a little bit messy and worded funnily, I guess you could say, and taking it and transforming it into digestible data specific to insight to profit terms that will allow us to do a lot of the internal analysis that we do in order to inform the diligence and pricing decisions. Once the ETL process was done, loaded that up into the analysis with our PowerPoint slides displaying many of the visuals that will help inform the model that I then went to build. The model that I built was called a margin index outlier correction model, taking prices that are below where they should be and moving them up with margin percent adjustments, as well as some price caps that will limit the amount of movement the price can have so we don't lose customers based on price increases that are too high or too aggressive that will be unrealistic, especially for our larger customers. Once I went through the practice of modeling out those pricing changes and getting the size of the opportunity or the amount of revenue that those pricing changes would bring in to that company, I went on to finalize my slides and rehearse my final presentation for the last few days of my internship. This involved me reaching out to all the people I had built relationships with over the course of the summer and scheduling time with them for 45 minutes to an hour every day. This could be done one-on-one, or sometimes I do it in smaller groups so I could get feedback from multiple people at the same time. This prepared me very well for my capstone presentation, as I had run it through probably a dozen times before I gave my actual final. The final was very well received. I was in a room with 12 to 15 Insight to Profit executives, and they asked me some hard questions, but I was able to deal with most of them professionally and giving a good answer. Ultimately, this resulted in me getting a return offer at the end of the summer. I am proud of the work that I did and happy that it ended out with me having a full-time job offer. Looking back on my summer and what this means for my career trajectory, the fact that I did receive a full-time offer does mean that I will be going back there after school into consulting. Although this is not in sports where my major lies, I think that this is a great opportunity for me to start out my career. I think that the potential for acceleration as well as learning within this industry is very high, and I think that I'll be exposed to a lot of areas that I wasn't previously, which I think would be a bit different than what I would see in the sports world. I can see myself coming back to sports eventually, but I think that this trajectory for now will serve me well, and I'm looking forward to going back to Insight and Chicago following my internship this summer. Thank you.